There are roughly 500,000 traffic tickets issued every year in BC, mostly for breaking the province's speed limits. Prince Rupert's Kelly Sawchuk received a ticket last year while cruising through Prince George. Sawchuk was on his way home from Kamloops and trying to make good time. We'll let him pick up the story from there.
I was on a passing lane. I just passed about 10 logging trucks and maybe a motorhome and some other vehicles. So I'd cleared the passing lane and the vehicles. I came across a police car. You know, I was just going down into a big bowl, not a vehicle in sight, and I went through. They got me on radar. Well, I think it was about 145 or 148. Well, I don't feel like I was going too fast. I mean, it's a big, heavy truck. It's 16-inch brand new tires, and it's a lifetime of driving on in the north in remote areas.
Kelly Sawchuk was charged with speeding on Highway 97 between Quesnel and Prince George. He also had his truck impounded, but Sawchuk was doing what many northern BC drivers do on lonely stretches of highway. Sense B.C. is an organization dedicated to reforming the province's speed limit laws. Ian Tootill is the group's co-founder, and he joins us by phone this morning in Vancouver. Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Why do you believe it's time to raise the speed limit in British Columbia?
Well, primarily because I don't want to be made a lawbreaker every time I get out and drive my car on some of the fine highways in BC. We have some excellent roads, including the Coquihalla, and these roads are posted at anywhere from 80 to 110 kilometers an hour, and drivers tend to drive according to the design speed of the roads and the condition of their vehicles and their driving ability and so on. And generally, from both anecdotal and also studied observation, we can see that most people are exceeding posted speed limits on some of the better roads. And there's no reason that people should be made to be lawbreakers when they're doing what's safe and reasonable. And the problem that we've got now, as you indicated with that previous story, is that we've got another department of the government that has enacted these impoundments under administrative law, and they're basing the impoundment speeds on flawed speed limits to begin with.
And now, what speeds are you looking to have on highways? Let's take a well-traveled one like Highway 97.
Well, I've traveled Highway 97 years ago myself, lots of times, and it's a road that in some cases doesn't have a lot of traffic on it, and the sight lines are long, and in some cases it's divided, and there are multiple lanes involved. And my speed was generally 20 to 30 over the posted limit. Now, I've said this for years. I'm going to say it again. I'm not in a position to choose what the speed limit should be. I'm not a traffic engineer. There are engineering studies that are conducted that should put forward what the correct limit should be, and we've done one in BC. It's on the Sense B.C. website. You can hook up to it there. But, that study shows clearly that there are many highways in British Columbia that are not posted correctly. The Coquihalla Highway, for instance, that's got most of the barriers or most of the causes that you would have to stop quickly or end up in a crash removed. We've got no merging ramps, or very few of them anyway. We've got rumble strips on the side of the road so you don't fall asleep. We've got divided highways so you don't hit people coming towards you. That's a super highway, and generally the speeds on that road are anywhere from 126 to 135, say 140 kilometers an hour, and we've got a posted limit of 110.
Now, a number of drivers may not feel comfortable driving at speeds beyond what the current limits are. So if you were to put them out on a road with much faster drivers, that might make them feel unsafe. What's your response to that concern?
Well, Andrew, contrary to the statement by the person who did the preamble into this show, I'm not advocating speeding. What I'm advocating is that the speeds that are already being driven by drivers be made legal. And so there's nothing wrong with people choosing to drive slower. There are big vehicles, there are heavy trucks, for instance, that aren't capable of driving faster, and there's no problem with that. All they have to do is simply use some lane discipline and keep right. And, everybody will get along fine, and there will be less interactions and less road rage. It's no problem.
Now, of course, there are many highways that are 2-lane only. What about the unpredictability of, say, wild animals, dusk or dawn along northern roads when you have maybe something that's not so much a superhighway?
Right. Well, this is a very good point. And there are crashes and there are accidents. And crashes, by and large, are preventable. Accidents are, in some cases, not preventable, or in most cases, not preventable. So, there are areas where we have to work on things that are uncontrollable variables, like wild animals, and that is taken care of through engineering. So if you've got a road that, like the Coquihalla, for instance, there's fences on both sides of that road so that animals don't run out in front of it. But there's always the possibility that something will happen. And, we have, as a society, taken on the collective risk of, inertia when we travel. And there are risks involved. There are going to be people, contrary to the goals of the Superintendent of Motor Vehicles, there's always going to be people that are unfortunately killed or injured on roads. Their stated goal is to make it 0 fatalities on BC roadways. I'm going to say here and now that that's an impossible goal. And so when you have goals like that, it's no wonder that they do unreasonable things like, hook cars from disabled people and leave them stranded in the middle of the road like they did with Mr. Sawchuk.
All right, we have just a minute left. I do want to ask, what needs to happen in order to raise speed limits in our province and achieve your goals?
Well, there needs to be a collective scream to the provincial government and potential elected representatives that the way that they're conducting speed management in BC is unacceptable, and that they're not willing to accept speeding tickets for reasonably safe actions of the reasonable majority, and tell their MLAs. I mean, the person who's responsible for the impoundment that Mr. Sawchuk encountered is the elected representative in Prince George, and that's Shirley Bond. Tell Shirley Bond what you think.
All right, Ian, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Ian Tootill is a co-founder of Sense B.C. He joined us by phone from Vancouver. We will post a link to that organization from our website, cbc.ca/Daybreak North. In the meantime, what do you think about increasing the speed of BC's highways? You can call us, 1-866-340-1932, email daybreaknorth@cbc.ca, or we're on Twitter @DaybreakNorth.